Hello everyone, today I am having a faculty of IoT from SDBI, Mumbai. Hello sir, how are you?
Hi, Harsh Kumar. I'm superb. I'm doing
Nice sir,
great.
nice sir, nice. And the first question to you is why do you like to be in a educational sector rather than any other sectors?
See, actually, I started my career as an educator. I used to teach in NIIT, and later on, I started teaching the faculties of NIIT. And then, like my career went into corporate training. So from corporate training, I was also visiting faculty in various colleges like KC College, Wilson College, and after that, I started doing corporate training, going abroad, teaching elsewhere. Then I came settled in India and became a senior software engineer. Right now I'm a CTO, but still, along with my job, I like to teach, and that is why I'm teaching there in SDBI.
Okay, so how was your experience with SDBA?
So I've been teaching there since the past more than a year, basically. It's 1.5 years to be precise. And teaching over there is good because the MSc students are really exposed. They are from different background. The BSc students, as you expect, the students have a mentality of getting a job at the end of the day. But then those students are also very good, and they want to come into data science and become scientists. So that's what my point of view would be.
Very nice, sir, very nice. And what do you do to make a healthy relationship with your students and with your colleagues?
So mostly, most of the time, what I do is for students, I give them a lot of practical knowledge first. Based on that, I show them some examples, some practicals. I make them do it, and then I teach the theory part. So what happens is, hand in hand, they understand that.
Very nice, sir, very
So,
nice.
so
By
they're
giving a
able to
practical
understand it
knowledge,
in a better manner, because the faculties or teachers, most of the time, they will just come ahead, they'll just give the practicals, and then maybe they'll just teach the theory part. They might show a PowerPoint and everything. So that is the thing. Secondly, what I do is, more importantly, is I give them this is very important, and it's very good for an educator to do this. What I do is I give them a prerequisite video. That means I give them a video of a particular topic which I'm going to take in the next lecture. So I share them on WhatsApp or whatever medium I'm able to, and I give the video which are freely available on the internet, nothing paid. Okay, so all these videos which I give them, they go through it. As you know, all the five fingers are not same. Some of them are really scholars. They do learn about it, and then in the class, before even taking the lecture, I do a lot of discussion with them. So the scholars or the seniors who are very good and understand the topic before me teaching them, they are able to do a good healthy discussions in the class. So this is one way where I am able to bridge the gap in the class.
very nice, sir, very nice. So by delivering a practical knowledge to our students, you try to communicate more and more with the students and more connect with the students, right, sir?
Yeah, my connectivity with the students, I treat them like friends and not as students. So
Very nice.
they are very, like, they can ask me questions at the end, at any time in the class and after the class as well. And you can ask any of my students. They were like, I'm very approachable as a person.
Okay, so as they see a friendly atmosphere, they can learn easily from anyone.
That is very, very important that you maintain that sort of a relation with all the students, not only like a single student, but all the students, and most of the times.
So what is the extra activity do you do rather than this teaching students?
So so during the lockdown, of course, normally what I do is, normally I take them to treks and all those things. However, during the lockdown, all of those things, outdoor extracurricular activities, are not possible. So what I do is, we have enrolled them for another course. Okay, that course is about, so let's say I'm doing IoT. So in IoT, what happens is, you need to have a proper knowledge of hardware. So we have given them kits in their home. All the students, we have given them kits, things like Arduino, things like I don't know, I'm going a little bit technical, but I give
No,
them
the Raspberry Pi and Arduino, I think.
Raspberry Pi, Arduino, yeah, all those things. So I'm not sure if the audience understand me, but then that's the subject I'm teaching. So,
Okay.
so I give them all the hardware stuff, which is the sensors, various sensors. What is an LDR? So they are very much, because it is a little bit off the topic, but it is required as a basic understanding of how IoT works. Like you know how Alexa works or how your Siri works. These are voice assistants. So similar to that, we require all these things, the third-party SDK, everything to integrate with each other, and then go ahead. So what happens is the learning of the student is much better than having a bookish knowledge.
Nice, very nice.
That way.
And what is the USP of SDBI? Like, what is the best part of SDBI, which is different from other schools?
Sure. See, most of the schools, as you know, I'm speaking especially of lockdown. They are, after the lockdown, most of them went ahead and they went ahead and they used freely available software like Google Meet or Zoom or like what you are doing. But in our case, we had to have we had to build a system, and we were doing it from the start. We got a very like a year's head start. So we started building up this LMS. So learning management system, where we are able to take the entire Zoom kind of a thing. We are able to show them the slides. We are able to share the screen. We are able to mark their attendance. Students are able to learn from their LMS. So LMS is one of the best USPs. You will not find it anywhere, because we since the start of SDBI, we started developing on that particular platform, and that is one important thing. We integrated open source softwares also, things such as Big Blue Button and all. So I don't know, people in America use this Big Blue Button. They use it all across the globe, not only in the US, but Europe, elsewhere. They are using Big Blue Button, and we are also using the same thing, instead of having a Zoom, a client, or a Google Meet, so that we can record it. We can record the sessions, and we can give it back to the students based on the timeline, like at what time what lecture was taken. They are able to view insights, like the parents are able to log in and check how much the student is attending, how much the student is learning. So teachers have this prerequisite video, as I told you. Then they have got things like online PDF or books, or maybe slides of the faculties, and whatever they're going through, the entire thing is recorded, and that performance of how much the student is studying is shown to them. Also, we are like in the next 2 months, we are going to conduct unit tests online. So we are developing softwares for that as well.
Okay, so you are trying to go on an optimum position for giving a better outcome of student. Very nice, sir.
Yeah, or not only optimum position, we have to see, things are changing, and the topic data science is a new one, right? So we need to adapt to it. We need to give our schooling in such a way, give our teaching and education such a way that students are also comfortable in the available platforms, and we as educators are also able to convey our message, or strengthen the students' foundation.
What is your source of motivation, or is there any book would you like to suggest to your students?
Mostly I've got technical books, but there's one book that I would like to suggest, and the name of the book would be The Power of the Subconscious Mind. It's by an author known as Joseph Murphy, and it helps you to control the subconscious mind and improve the quality of your daily life.
Very nice, very nice. And the first question was that what is your source of motivation, sir?
How am I motivated?
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Okay. So mostly it is critical thinking, what I do most of the time, and my likeness to this particular topic. I have been I just like this topic. There's just a love for the topic and the passion for it so much. The problem solving abilities which I have. So whenever there is any programming language or challenges happening, I'm able to solve it. Like one example, as I told you, is the Zoom, how to eliminate third-party softwares and put in our softwares. So these type of things, and then adaptability, very important, because nowadays you don't get teachers who are teaching latest subjects. They're just going ahead with whatever has been teaching years by years by years. But now Bombay University has also introduced this course of data science, which we are teaching the first time. So and for me, the subject which I'm teaching, like DBMS, I am very good with theory and I just love that. And secondly is the IoT, because I had my own startup which was doing all this automation. I was into home automation. So all this passion of mine is it comes into the teaching automatically.
Very nice, sir, very nice. And it was the last question of the interview. Is there anything would you like to say to students who are coming in IoT sector or data science sector?
Well, as you can see, what a good question you have asked. Just do a Google search of the salary or the position of a data scientist, because today we are into what do you say, a digital age. There's a lot of information happening, but there is a lot of information getting saved in the server, but there is no proper usage of that information. So how do we do analytics of that data which is gathered? So this subject is a very interesting subject. Apart from that, IoT, everybody knows that it's a very interesting one, because you're able to do a lot of, there's a lot of downtime in industries. You can implement it in cities, places of fire, irrigation, government, transportation. You take any sector, you will be having a feature of IoT definitely in that.
So very nice, sir.